Greetings and welcome to episode 272 of the Words About Games podcast, the weekly video game podcast for Words About Games. I'm your host, Amy K. Alexander, joined, as always, by Daffy Moody.
It's Monday. I have to change that. You know what that means, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone. It's a new Funko Pop, Ahsoka style.
This is like a toy podcast at this point. It's great. I love it.
Basically, I buy a Funko Pop and I show it. I have
do,
to.
Yeah. Even when we try not to let him, he still does it. But it's not just us, Moody.
I know.
We've got people.
I know.
Other people. Amazing people.
Some might say they're pretty glorious.
I think you're right. I think you're right. We've got Joseph Moran. I hope I pronounced that right. And Kyle Stephenson, the hosts of, and I fucked this up last week, the hosts of a trophy room, the trophy room, a PlayStation podcast. This t-shirt that I'm wearing.
Nailed it.
Hey, good.
What up?
Hello,
I'm
everybody.
happy.
Hello.
Same.
Wow.
It's fantastic. We've got the PlayStation dudes to talk Xbox. It's perfect.
Hey, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah. Surprise.
Surprise!
Oh my God. It's amazing. Like, this is so surreal to me right now to have everybody together. Like, I watch your podcast.
Yeah.
And now I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
And we talk on a regular basis.
I mean, we do,
no
yeah.
worries.
We do. It's true.
Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm
It's
still.
it's gonna be nice.
It's going to be a nice, calm discussion, which will anger no one.
Absolutely no one.
No, no one could possibly get angry. But
Nope.
before we jump in and chat, where can everybody find you guys?
Kyle, you want me to take this? Yeah, you want? No, I do it all the time. You do it.
And every single time we're on a podcast together, you're always kicking it to me, so I'm prepared. If you want the latest and greatest in all things PlayStation, you can follow at PS Trophy Room on Twitter and the Trophy Room PlayStation podcast on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcast services. Personally, you can find me on Twitter at Mr. KSEP, and Joe is over there at Mr. Badbit. Did not realize once I changed my name that we were combined forces with the Mr. Twitter handles. That was a happy accident, but it works. It blends together. Synergy.
Synergy.
Yes.
Synergy.
Love it. That's amazing. I have things.
That is amazing, yes.
I have all these notes here in front of me. I should probably read some of them. Am I right in thinking this week it's the beginning of US Hispanic Heritage Month?
It is, yes, on the 14th, I believe.
Cool.
The 14th of September to the 14th of October.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that is.
It's pretty much a way for us Hispanics, Latino, Latinx folks to, honor our history and understand it and bring it to the forefront. Hispanic heritage, there's a lot that goes into it. And it means something differently depending on what region you're in. Hispanics range from people in Europe all the way from people in Asia. And so there's a lot to highlight that people don't know, the good, the bad, and the ugly in our history. And it's always an excellent way to kind of educate one another and educate ourselves on that history so that we become hopefully better people in that. So that's what I want to bring out to the forefront, because for me, I'm very lucky being a Hispanic because I'm part Spaniard and I'm part Puerto Rican, and I get to pass as white a lot of the times. So I don't get the glares, I don't get the questionable looks, but my other side of the family, who are darker skinned, do get those looks. So throughout my life, I've always realized that my cousins always got treated differently than us. And I never really truly understood that until my late teens. So for me, it's important to realize that even if you are passing as white here in the States, there's a lot to it. Like, for example, my true name should be Joseph Martin Moran Mendez, but my dad chose my mother's name because it sounded Irish. And, a lot of people, I take my story and I correlate it to someone like Martin Sheen, whose real name is Emilio Estevez Sr. And back in the day, he used to not get work. And he was a terrific actor, right? I mean, this is
Yeah.
the elusive man himself from Mass Effect 2. And his agent literally told him, no one's going to book you with that name. And someone's yelling my name right now. And so, oh, one sec.
Yeah, of course.
This sounds important.
I hope your house isn't on fire or something.
I hope not as well. But to go off what Joseph said, like I think it's like for a white person in general, like when we don't realize things, we don't at all
the time.
especially from any marginalized people at all. We don't realize it until we see it, and it's heartbreaking when we do see it. But
Oh,
go on, Justin.
only a Puerto Rican mother. Only a Puerto Rican mother. So, to continue my story, his booking agent literally told him, no one's going to book you with that name. And so he literally changed his name to get a job in Hollywood. And he took his parents to see his first play as the opening guy. And he pointed out the billboard. He's like, look, Dad, that's my name up there. It's me. And he's like, his father looked in disappointment. He said, that may be you, but it's not your name. And that's the sad realism, is that even on paper, we have to work to get ahead, or just to not even get ahead, to be on the same playing field. So it's always something to kind of realize. And, I respect people that are way more open and fighting every day for that type of equality. So, yeah, I'm very happy to be here. Very thankful. And I'm sorry about the Puerto Rican mother in the background.
That's fine. I'm really
I said
sorry.
I wanted to do
Well.
I said I wanted to do a 5-person podcast before, so let's do this.
Yeah, let's do it.
Bring her in.
Get her in here. Does she like
Sonic 2
PlayStation?
comes
Let's do
out.
it.
When Sonic
Yes.
2 comes out, Joe and Mama Badbit needs to come on and talk about that movie.
I'm sorry that you told me that you had a bad throat and I made you speak uninterrupted for the beginning of the podcast.
I'm good. I'm lubricated. I got tea and I got water. I'm fine.
Let's say lubricated
that's
right now, not after
lubricated.
last night.
That's a good one. That's a good. Yeah, we had that one already.
For context, Amy's name on Among Us was lubricate. Last night we were just like, oh no,
Of all the things, because we had Elfie in our Among Us game, he was also like had a cold, and of all the things Keith could have said, it was make sure you stay lubricated.
Oh no, friends, yeah. Oh, so bad, but it was so much fun.
Cheers.
That word's following
Cheers
me.
and
Cheers. That word's following me around. Thank you for that story. That was awesome.
Cheers.
Absolutely.
But should we just get into it? Should we just talk about PlayStation? Because I know we've only got you for a little bit. So there was a PlayStation showcase. It was on Thursday. I was trying to remember what day it was. It was on Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm well prepared for this. This is great. It went down really well with no contentiousness on the internet whatsoever. No one was arguing about anything. No one's comment section got flooded with
No.
shit.
Couldn't be us.
No, couldn't be you guys. You guys are the best PlayStation podcast on the internet.
It's true.
So
That's actually a fact.
it's facts. It's facts.
Indeed.
That's
Facts.
Yeah.
So, what everybody think of it?
Can I
Just
go
like an
first?
overall thoughts. Of course you can.
Because I need to apologize to the internet, because I feel like a lot of people have been dunking on me. And when I mean a lot, it's really more like a dozen. So like I need to chill out with the verbiage. But I feel like I chose the wrong words when I first introduced my feelings into this showcase. Because I said, it's like a 6. This had to be their worst showcase since the flute guy. And I don't stand by those words anymore. Not because I got the hate, but I do come to an understanding that for PlayStation, I do think this is their worst showcase. And I know that's very violent verbiage, but it's just how I feel. When we take a look at what we think a PlayStation showcase is, we do think of like the 2016 Year of Dreams. Even last year's showcase was phenomenal. And it showed you things in the very present, in the near future, and the far future, where this showcase didn't show us what's near. They just showed us what's in the future and the far future. And I think when it comes to the what's near, it's a lot of retreading on things like GTA 5, Deathloop, and third-party stuff that we know is coming to other platforms. So, although I think this is the weaker show of the past few years, I still think it's a very good show and one of the best this year. And I stand by what Kyle's original thoughts are, is like, if I had to rate this a number, which I shouldn't have done.
Should never rate
Never put a
anything
number on for me.
Never.
No, but I'll do it now. Make that mistake again. Nothing like falling into a bear trap and then just falling into another one immediately afterwards. Is like, this is like a 7.5, very good, a C plus, low B even. This is still a very good showcase. Not great, because I literally looked at how many minutes went by where I was bored to death, and it was 15 minutes of that. Technically 20 if you add the intro. It's like 20 minutes of me being bored, and so I think the pacing was wrong. To quote Blessing, friend of the show, he actually said it perfect. It felt like 30 minutes was the pre-show and 10 minutes was the real show. And so to me, I think
accurate.
Yeah, I think that's how I feel as well. I think he pinpointed my feelings to a T. So I thought this was a very good showcase, but still, for PlayStation standards, a bit weak. So come at me, internet. I'll fight you.
And I will jump in front of you and shield you from it.
Come through us. This is our podcast. You can fight us first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I kind of echo Joe's sentiments a little bit. It's definitely not the strongest PlayStation show they've ever done, but I think that's just more for my personal taste in what I want from a show and what games I want to see. And the one thing I thought afterwards, because I did rewatch this showcase like 3 or 4 times, because that's what I do, is I watch other people react to the shows like immediately afterwards. It's just like something I really enjoy. And the thing that got me even more excited are like the things that we didn't even see, knowing that they're still coming. Like whatever Sucker Punch is working on next, and whatever Naughty Dog is putting out, whatever Factions turns out to be. Like, there's more of the unknown that is still exciting. And like Joe said, we still have like a lot of far future things in Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine, which is super, super cool. And like, yeah, could they have spread out the PlayStation stuff a little bit more and sprinkled it in? Would that have made a better show pace-wise? Possibly. But that was a real power move to have all those trailers and the show. Because that is what a lot of people remember from the show, are those, what were the 4 trailers at the end of PlayStation Studios, and then KOTOR in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then there's just a lot of things in the middle that just weren't my jam, other than Project Eve and oh my god, I'm blanking on the other one.
Forspoken?
Thank you, Forspoken.
Got you.
Yeah, which finding out afterwards that Amy Hennig helped write that game. Oh boy.
Wait, did she?
She did.
Ooh.
Gary Whitta, Amy Hennig, Bear McCreary is coming back to do the music, who's God of War.
Okay, Amy.
Forspoken is
like,
we
just might be going up a little bit now.
Shooting up the ranks.
I'm just going to move this up.
Changing my number as we speak, Amy. My overall thoughts is that I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty much right there with you. As I thought it was like I jokingly, me and Amy did get aggressive towards me over on our private messenger. I jokingly said, well, that beginning trailer was better than the Matrix trailer, because I didn't like that Matrix trailer personally. It just didn't work for me. But personally, this year, not a lot of trailers have worked for me, Joseph.
The hallway, like that blew my mind. Where the agent goes through the door and it's just awesome. Like, hey, we saw.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I've got
I'm
other
sorry
people
for
to call out
disappointing
your
you.
bullshit with me this week. This is great.
I'm sorry. But
the
no, yeah.
chick that I'm in love with, she jumps on a roof and she breaks part of it and leaps off. Oh my goodness.
And like, then it goes into Kota, and I was like, oh, Lucasfilm? Star Wars? Who is this? And then you go for a nap. And then you come back, and then they show you obviously Wolverine, and you go, what? Nice, especially because it's Insomniac. Insomniac are doing so, like, they're turning themselves into basically the It Studio for Sony right now, and which is crazy to think, especially with all the great studios Sony have. And then you go into like a 10-minute Gran Turismo advert, which was like, why did you suck all the energy out? How did you do this? And then you go to the 2 killer ones with Spider-Man and obviously Ragnarok at the end, which were really great. I am excited for those games, but yeah, I'm right there with you. It's like it was a good conference, but we've seen better and we felt better, where we're literally screaming from the rooftop saying this was absolutely fantastic.
And the one thing that irks me a little bit, because we said the same, it's like, wow, Insomniac, don't stop. Like, they never have.
Yeah.
Like, from 98 till, what is it? Till 2009, they've put out a game a year. Like, they're a powerhouse studio that knows what they do it well, do it efficient enough that they can make those games super fast. So, and have a lot of teams working on said games. And so to me, I'm though I'm surprised at seeing all the Insomniac stuff, a part of me isn't, because it's just like, yeah, this is what they do. They're really good at it.
Let's be honest here. We're probably going to see Wolverine and Spider-Man 2 be playing those games before we see whatever Naughty Dog are doing next. And as much as I love Naughty Dog,
before we get factions.
Like, The Last of Us Part 2 was my game of the year last year. I adored that game, but we might see factions, but I'm not interested in that personally. But when it comes to their next real thing, big thing, whatever the hell it is, like, I think it's rumours to be like a medieval thing I think I've seen online or something.
Ooh.
But like, whatever that is, we're not seeing it until probably by the end of PlayStation 5's life cycle, probably, knowing how bloody look, which would be a
You
shame.
should be able to buy one by then as well.
Possibly, Amy. Yes, I might be able to get one. I've got an Xbox on the way, which is fantastic. I got the Halo version.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, like my thoughts, I tweeted out my thoughts as I always do, because I'm unfiltered on Twitter, and I was just like, it was fine. Like, the games, for the most part, like the actual like games that they were showing was like, this is cool. Or in the case of, say, GTA 5, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have a nap now. But like, I don't know, it was the presentation itself for me where I was just like, like, there wasn't anything like to really grab me. Like, and it's not in terms of the quality of the games, right? Because like Ragnarok, Wolverine, Spider-Man 2, those are all great announcements. But I'm not going to be playing any of those for a few years. So what's
That's
the thing?
my other thought too.
Yeah, what's the thing that grabs me and says, hey, this is why you have a PS5. This is why you stayed up and refreshed the page for 4 hours. Because you're not getting those 4 hours back. This is why you did it. And I was like, there wasn't really anything there for me.
Yeah.
Apart from the game where you can possess a crab and play ukulele.
Yeah.
That was
That was cute. That game's awesome.
Yeah. I was like, that was the game I was excitedly tweeting about after the show.
To me, I feel the same way, where it's like, cool, God of War theoretically is coming out next year. Theoretically, we're taking their word for it. We don't know what the global panorama has in store for us. But when it comes to Spider-Man and Wolverine, as I live and breathe, that's like 3-4 years out. Like, that's
Spider-Man, they said 2023, didn't they?
2023, but
yeah,
they say that. Do they mean it? Like, they said God of War is coming out 2021. They don't. A lot of people don't realize that whenever a company puts out a year, like they just throw out a year, that's them just literally fishing for pre-orders. Like, that's not a real fixed number. So, or hype even. Not.
So
just
they're doing the cyberpunk thing. I get it.
Exactly. Hopefully not, though.
Don't bring up Cyberpunk right now.
Sorry, Amy.
We're having a good show.
We're having a nice conversation.
Yeah.
Also, don't forget, like, we are getting Horizon in February.
Mm-hmm.
So that is pretty close. And as much as it's not our thing, GT7 is huge.
Could I say something about that, Kyle?
Yeah, go.
And usually I talked about my problem with them repeating shit constantly. That was one thing I think they should have repeated, because they just changed the date, and they should have just showed 15 seconds, even 30 seconds Horizon, February.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say as well. It's like it's the game it's the next game. So like it would have made sense to just go and here's what you can play in February. Boom.
Yeah, I think that would have been fantastic. There are a lot of changes I think I would have made as far as like I felt like a lot of the trailers were a little long. Like that Deathloop trailer should have just been like a quick 30 seconds. Boom, it's out soon.
It's out on Tuesday.
Not like a full thing where like potentially huge spoilers just sprinkled in there that caught us by surprise. And like I think of the PlayStation shows that I fully love and goosebumps from start to finish. Yeah. And I think of the year at PSX where they started with The Lost Legacy.
Yes.
And then they ended with Last of Us Part 2.
That was
Why did you not start with Spider-Man 2 and end with Wolverine? As like if you had a studio that had two things you're going to show off, space them out a little bit, have that huge pop at the beginning, have a pop right before going into Ragnarok. I felt like that would have hit pretty hard.
I think as a producer role, Star Wars is still a really big IP.
Yes. Yeah.
And that IP has a legacy to it. So
yeah.
I understand why they opened up with that first. I do think I understand their reasoning as to, okay, this is the shit why you really came, right? And had those games there. I think Herman should have had that Star Wars trailer first. Herman coming out as fucking gorgeous as he is. My God, let's just talk about it.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, he's a handsome man.
That's fine.
Whoa. And sorry, I'm just lost in that jawline of his. But and then show us Spider-Man, right? And then space it out, show us goddamn GTA deal, and then show us, Wolverine, that type of stuff. I think that would have moved the show better.
Start strong.
I would have put like the Spider-Man one in the middle. In the middle of that 20 minute lull that we feel like we all had and everything, then you would have like lulled, and then you go boom, Spider-Man. Oh my God, Spider-Man! We all knew it was coming. We were always gonna. It was either we're either gonna see it this year or somewhere next year or something like that. Whenever they were gonna properly announce it, and then go into like finish with Wolverine and God of War. We all knew God of War was probably gonna be the thing that was gonna close this show overall, because it's probably the next really big one coming after Horizon. I'm guessing, which will probably like we all think. Well, we're all hopefully assuming going off what Sony says maybe next year, but we'll see what happens. Like I said to Amy offline, this is a show just like E3 was. That is, the developers are still coming to terms with the pandemic, and that they showed you what they could. Spider-Man 2, I don't deny, I think is further along that I think a lot of people probably think it actually is. So that's what kind of makes me feel, because it's Insomniac, kind of makes, when I saw 2023, I will not be surprised if they actually hit 2023. Because it's Insomniac. If it was another studio, I'd be like, they're probably going to get pushed. We all know this. But Insomniac have been so good of late. I don't even think the first Spider-Man they made was pushed, was it? Can you? Am I wrong, or can you correct me with that?
I don't think you're wrong at all.
Miles was like obviously day release with PlayStation 5, and then obviously when they locked down the release date for Ratchet, it came out on the release date it came out. Obviously they were delaying it and not talking about when it was going to release for as long as they wanted to, but
also not even just Miles, right? Remastered Spider-Man. On the same day.
I think people forget that they remastered that game, and they're doing a remaster. Isn't that easy, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah, remember all the fervor over the redesigned Peter model, and everyone was up in arms over that.
Oh,
it's a lot of work.
I like how that's completely been forgotten about now.
Everyone's forgotten, and the puddles as well. I will admit, I got into that for about 5 minutes because I misread it, and I was like, "They've replaced the actor!" Like, no, they haven't replaced the actor. I was like, I would have fucking burned someone.
You want to hear something hilarious? Go on. I checked the Grand Theft Auto 5 thing because I was like, let me see. Because you say this is updated graphics, and in the stream it didn't look like it. So let me go on to the PlayStation official YouTube channel. This trailer,
it's so
first off, look, it doesn't. Nothing's changed. Secondly, 22,000 likes, 77,000 dislikes. Oof.
The thing is, when it comes to the trailer, Sony won't have anything to do with that trailer. That's all. Rockstar.
Rockstar,
I keep forgetting them. Rocksteady. I also say Rocksteady sometimes. Yeah, it has a rock in it. But no, yeah, Rockstar. They're the ones who have sorted that. So Sony can't do anything about that.
I don't think it's the trailer as more as it's more GTA 5, right? Like it's been. When did that game come out? 2013?
PS3.
Yeah, it was like the end of the
Came out-
generation, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
came out 2013.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
7 years. They've been re-releasing GTA 5.
And people are still gonna buy this new version.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I know.
Until
we talk
GTA
about the
6 or
numbers,
whatever it
hear
is.
me? It's going to be back up.
We just got rid of it out of the MPD. Like, come on, man.
It's going to be back up there by the end of the year. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, no, like I like I think the idea of the 1-2 punch that you mentioned before would have been a good one, the sort of open and close, where it's like you close it out with, you start with the God of War trailer, and then everybody thinks, cool, we're done. Like that was obviously what we were gonna end with, and then Herman, dreamy Herman comes out and goes, but we do have one more thing, and then it's Wolverine, and everyone loses their minds, right?
They were very. Insomniac was playing with like the hardcore PlayStation fans big time at the showcase, because both trailers could have been different things, right? Like the Wolverine trailer started, and I got hyped because I heard like an old timey radio at first. I was like, oh my god, it's Chimera, it's Resistance. They're doing it. They're remastering, remaking it, whatever. But then the Spider-Man 2 trailer starts, and there's a bolt of electricity, and for a split second, I was like, oh my god, it's Cole. Infamous. They're doing Infamous. Oh my god. They're bringing it back. And then it's just, I say it's just Spider-Man 2. Like, it's not a huge
Yeah,
deal.
it's
Spider-Man
just
2 is huge. It's whatever. It's only probably going to be the greatest superhero game ever made. But I feel like PlayStation did that on purpose. Like, maybe, like, secretly, they're like, hey, let's give a little hint of Infamous and Cole and do some lightning here in this trailer. And like
they like
tease
doing
you a
that.
little bit. Yeah, I know.
Crash Bandicoot t-shirt, never forgive him.
Exactly. I'm trying my best to.
Like, isn't the opening like the
Farine
color?
over here.
The color of the sign of Insomniac's like the resistance, isn't it? So yeah, I think they are teasing you like hell. Just touching the water, seeing how everyone's feeling about this and everything. But no, yeah, it's Insomniac. Like, it's like, as I agree completely what you said on your podcast, Joseph. It's the best buy. Anything. Yeah. Microsoft, you may have got Bethesda, which is fantastic and it's going to do amazing for you. But Insomniac have literally just thrown out basically 3 games which still get talked about. Bethesda is a bit of a mix for a lot of people these days, and we have no idea when the next we know when Skyrim's coming out again.
Next year, the year after that.
And everything like that. But I think it's like a little bit of a mix when it comes to Bethesda, but I'm sure it'll come good for Xbox by the end, because I'm super excited for it. Sure. But
they've got Deathloop coming out on Tuesday.
I know. And no one's talking about it.
Give me till tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, the reviews haven't dropped yet.
I'm
so excited.
Joe with the Big Farine, I'm gonna call him from now on. The version of Wolverine with office supplies. What do we want from that game? Like, I hope it's mature. I hope it's bloody and as violent as Wolverine is. And like, I personally would love a dark story like a Last of Us with Wolverine.
I think we're gonna get something like that.
Yeah,
because
I hope so.
Everybody's pointing out the trailer was you have to have your age on it.
Oh, really?
It's
on
age
like
restricted.
a blog or something?
Yeah, that, and like you could just see from that trailer, it gives you the ideas, like the blood on his knuckles, that this is going to be, because CG trailers, they're of course not the game, but they're supposed to give you the idea of what that game is going to be, right? Subliminally. So when you just take a look at the chaos that has happened in that room, the blood on Logan, this is gonna be a rated M game. And I think I think this game is going to be more linear. Um, I don't think this is like an open world game. I think this is a brawler. And Amy's freaking out, but like
Please,
that's what I'm
please.
thinking. Like you know, not the one-to-one comparison. It's just a game that's coming to mind. Like we take a look at Sifu, and it's all about going into hallways, going into rooms, and having those intimate fights with the enemies. I think that's what we're getting out of Wolverine, and I just want to see how they do the regeneration on him when he takes damage. That I'm very interested in.
It's
But I
like the
think this is
one
gonna happen.
game. It's the one game where regenerating health bar makes perfect sense.
Mhm. Like how much destructions on Logan
Yeah.
equals.
That's your health bar.
Yeah.
God, that's so cool.
It's Insomniac, so they wouldn't do this, I don't think, if they didn't have an interesting idea for it. I think they know themselves that they probably can't go the Spider-Man route with its combat and how its world is laid out or anything like that. I think they know themselves that they need to probably mix it up, I hope. And they're going to give us a game that's something like what you said, just something linear, and it just sticks to the core principles of what Wolverine is. And like it can be like, just do Logan. It's all right. I don't mind you doing Logan. That's fine. That was a great film. I don't mind doing that as a great game. Whatever. But yeah, they can do something really badass with it. And I'm just gonna say this right now. I know this is a completely different topic altogether, but Disney obviously own Wolverine. That means Sony and Disney are still talking. I still hope this means maybe Spider-Man stays in the MCU. I'm just gonna say that.
Please.
Like, yes. Remember, Booty, we've had this talk in the past.
Yes, we have. Yes.
Spider-Man's and remember you were very like, he's staying. Why? They're making so much money. No, because both of them want to make more money. Like more money. So I think Spider-Man eventually leaves the MCU, or this is like the pin of that relationship. Like, hey, you have the rights to Spider-Man. They're yours. Or you're like keep making those games exclusive.
Yeah.
We continue this partnership with Spider-Man here, and you work on your universe while we work on our universe. And I would really like a Sean Connery, Roger Moore situation where, they have their Spider-Man and we have ours. And we don't go to that side of the fence and they don't come to our side of the fence.
I just pictured Sean Connery as Wolverine. Sorry.
Will you stand by the... Go on.
It's a Pawnee Eagleton situation. Or
Yes.
a Pawnee
Thank you,
Raccoon
Joe.
situation.
Thank you.
The raccoons have their side of the park. We have ours.
So you see him by the end of the next Spider-Man movie, Tom Holland will stick in the MCU and the other two will fly off back to Sony.
Yeah.
If they're in the movie, ladies and gentlemen, we don't know.
Oh, they're there.
Don't show them. I'm just going to say that. Do not show them at all in any of the trailers.
Movie, they're
Hint at
gonna
them,
show 'em.
but don't you dare effing show them. They don't need to, though, Kyle. I know this is a game.
I know they
podcast, so
don't.
apologize.
I absolutely know they don't, but they're
With the
gonna show 'em.
viewership, what the trailer just did, it just outperformed Endgame in its trailer views. They don't need it. They must know. Don't do it, please. But either way, we're going back to the games, please.
Let's
I'm
talk
going
about
off a
video
tangent.
games.
Yes.
That's fine. Moody does this to me all the time. I'm used to it.
I do.
What everybody think of the Ragnarok trailer itself?
Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh my god.
This I didn't get to appreciate that much because of the stream quality. Because I was like some people out there, they're using the same animations.
Oh no, you no.
No, you
didn't.
weren't,
Tell me
Joe.
You didn't do that.
Okay, thank God.
It's the same boat animation. Yeah, I've seen all of that fucking.
Joseph, my hand was gonna so come through your camera.
I would have left, driven to New Jersey, and you would have seen me pop up behind him. Smack Moran a bit.
There's technical issues on Kyle's screen, and eventually technical issues come on Joseph's screen half an hour later.
Exactly.
The strongest. I would love it if it was immediate. Like walks on screen, and you just see a hand on my screen, bam. No, where like it wowed me, and I think what we often forget. I'm sorry again, guys.
That's okay. No.
That we're that this isn't like God of War 2018, where we didn't really know what this game was going to feel like, and it was feeling so different from the originals. It had to prove something. God of War Ragnarok has nothing to prove. It just has to be the continuation of this amazing story and this amazing, cast of characters and combat. So I'm watching it going, yeah, it's really good. That looks like more God of War. And I'm excited. But like visually, I'm like, looks a bit nicer. Not blowing my skirt up. But I'll say this. Watching it in 4K out of the stream, I did have a Marilyn Monroe situation because I was thoroughly impressed with the facial animations of Kratos and of Atreus. And there's a lot of scenes where I'm like, this game looks gorgeous. And I just love how they're teasing a more in-depth combo system. So I'm walking away from God of War going, I cannot wait to see you again, old friend. That's
Absolutely.
yeah.
And
I
just
can't
just
wait.
the small tease
Yeah.
of a town that is populated.
Yeah.
And people walk around in this town and just Kratos and Atreus just walks up and shows up. Has me so excited. And to see Brock and Tinder again, it hit me all in the feels, and Freya being super angry. And again, one of the, I mentioned before, I watched the Easy Allies reaction afterwards. And I believe it was Michael Huber who said, imagine if the whole game Freya is just hunting you down because she's so angry.
God,
She's
the nemesis.
constantly after you like Nemesis.
A better Nemesis.
That'd be
A
so
better nemesis,
cool.
yeah.
That'd be so cool. And like, just even afterwards, like where they were showing like the character arts or whatever, and they showed off Thor, and people were like, oh,
Thor
that's not my
looks
Thor.
awesome. I don't care what
I
anybody
am
says.
Love it. I love it.
So excited to see a big guy that is powerful and not used for comedic or grotesque effect in a game. Like I forgot who it was, but somebody put side to side, like, I'm happy that we were getting a big man representation in Thor and God of War Ragnarok, and not the dealer in RE Village, who's just big just for like shock value and like, wow, look at how big he is. How does he move around? Whatever. Like,
Yeah,
as a
doesn't-
big man in games, big people aren't super capable. They're used for the comedic effect, or they're just like throwaway people, and like you barely ever see them. So to see Thor as a big man who's powerful and use powers, I really hope he is also like quick and agile in combat, and I'm happy that is the design that they're going with.
Oh,
It
he's
feels
gonna beat the
Feels
shit out
good.
of Kratos.
Oh, I can't wait.
Listen, he asked the question, "Are you a reasonable person?" And the internet responded, "No, we're not."
Don't ask them that.
Never ask
Never
them.
ask
No,
the internet
no.
questions.
Can we talk about the voice actor though? The guy that's
Yeah.
playing that plays Opie in Sons of Anarchy. He's gonna crush that role. He is such a great actor. Seriously great talent. If you haven't seen him,
Also,
he's great.
about God of War Ragnarok, they did confirm afterwards, either in the blog post or whatnot, it is going to be one continuous shot again, like 2018.
That was
So,
one of my
like,
favorite things about 2018.
Yeah.
Even though Corey is not the director on this game, which is totally fine, the new director, I believe his name is Eric.
No, it's not. I don't like Eric's face.
Well, you're bad boy. I'm happy
Get
that they're
driving,
sticking with
Kyle.
that
Get
kind of
driving, mate.
I'll be
As-
back, everybody.
We'll hold the fort. We'll hold the fort.
I'll see you in like 2 hours. Just hang tight.
Roundhouse my ass, I dare you.
Just record it on your phone. I'll insert it into the
There you
podcast
go.
afterwards. I'll put it in post. Angry Border as well looks pretty cool. Actually, just they like, and this is me being like, I'm into mythology and history, and I'm a nerd about stuff. So I got to see Angry Border, who I know a lot about, but I won't talk about too much because it might be story
That's the thing,
spoilers.
Amy. There's a lot that they put through out there that if you know the mythology, you probably know what's going to happen in this story.
I was very excited when I saw
Yeah.
when I saw it, and then I thought, is that? And then they said afterwards, it is, and I was like, oh, and then I was like, oh, I have to be
Yeah.
quiet now.
The one thing that
mhm.
I've heard a lot about God of War through, like the mythology nuts, or I've actually met some people that still like worship them. Type of
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's cool.
I didn't know that. That's crazy. But like they're just like how accurate they are and respectful to that interpretation and not the
Yeah.
MCU interpretation. is very nice to see. So I
That's the
I
thing.
dig that as well.
That's the thing. I think what's hurting this is because people all they think about when they think Thor, they think of the
Chris
sexiest man on the planet, Chris freaking Hemsworth, and he is a dreamboat. There's no doubt about it. But they
Yeah,
don't
break me in half, Chris.
research the actual mythology, and then they see this. Like, wait, why is he an overweight man? We've just seen this in Endgame. Go away. No, this is like
You're ripping off Endgame.
like seriously, stop being immature children. He looks badass, and I will allow him to punch my face in as when I'm playing Kratos.
This
I
is
will
another Lady Dimitrescu moment, isn't it?
I'm like, you hit me, boy.
Well, the thing is that what Thor looks like in the Ragnarok, in Ragnarok, is more accurate to what people thought powerful people looked like in those times, in Norse times. So like it's properly accurate to the mythology.
Yes,
Love it.
overweight men got the women in those days, ladies and gentlemen. They got them.
They were considered powerful.
Yes,
it was the identifier of power and wealth.
yeah.
Is if you're a big boy. So
And that was
sometimes
just
I
his
wish
hammer.
I could go back. Sometimes I just wish I could go back.
That's what he calls
Right?
his fists.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
tired of being poor and weak.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. I'll just walk into town. They're like, "Oh my god, is that a large and in charge individual?" Wow.
Yeah, all I know is like when this trailer started, I was like, "Oh, it's Kratos, God of War," and then the music started, and I just went, "Oh God!" Something woke up downstairs. I was like, "Oh, here we go." The music, I love the music. I'm
I
a
do too,
score kind of guy. I love scores and everything. And when you hear that, it's just like,
I'm back.
yes.
I'm home.
I'm back. Yes, I'm home. I am home to fight the gods and everything. And it looks amazing. And to anyone who's complaining about the reuse, go and complain to Ubisoft and Activision then as well, because they reuse their stuff as well. So go away.
That's how
Yes.
game development works.
Yes, that is actually how game. There's a reason why Rockstar take forever with their game, because they basically create new assets, and they also see GTA 5 continually
they
bringing
just-
their money
all
in.
they're doing is making GTA 5. Yeah, like you're right. Like I was into it. Like when the trailer came up, I was like, oh, it's God of War. I knew this was gonna happen. I'm not as excited. And then like you get to the end of the trailer and Kratos is there and Tia's there and Tia stands up and he's fucking massive. And I was like, I'm gonna faint. Oh, this is so good. I'm literally reading a book about Angry Border right now, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, man. Again, I really, it's parts like these where you really, you are reminded of the strength of the PlayStation IP. I take a look at the showcase, going, yeah, this is the greatest thing ever. But the power of IP is a very important thing. And when you take a look at what numbers this showcase has done, which as I glance over it, streamed views, it's over 3 million as of today. That's in a span of 4 days, right? When we take a look at the Xbox conferences numbers, and it's not to pin at us versus them, it's really to get perspective here.
Fight you.
That showcase has, over the span of months, 2.1 million views, right? Versus, I think, PlayStation's 3.4 in 2 days. And I want to put this in perspective when we do the whole, when we think about what Sony needs to do or how can they compete, and Xbox is talking so much, PlayStation's doing so little, that in the grand scheme of things, PlayStation still has an incredible influence in the marketplace. And that's why when we're like, why don't they have a Game Pass? The numbers don't lie. Our feelings, we could feel any which way. I'd love them to have a Game Pass, right? But the numbers don't lie. They don't need it because people are going to buy them. And, why does a PlayStation talk often? Well, you see, when they talk, people listen. Yeah. So I want to put that into perspective a bit, because it's funny where I've seen some folks go after Sony and the Jugular for not talking enough. And then the moment we see Wolverine, they're like, Xbox needs a superhero.
Yeah.
It's got the Master Chief, okay?
Exactly. It doesn't have to be us versus them, a pissing contest, for better words.
I mean, Joe, you say that, but Sony started off with a 3-minute commercial where it's pretty much PlayStation
chess.
versus Xbox in a chess game.
I mean, what was that?
I was like, are they announcing
there were
chess?
some hidden themes under behind that chessboard.
There's 100%.
Like, have they skipped All Stars 2 and just gone straight to some kind of weird PlayStation chess game? What's happening right now?
I'll take a PlayStation branded FMV chess game. Sure.
Hell yeah.
I have a question, and I'm legit. This is me asking it. There was a rapper guy. I forget his name. I don't know who he is.
Rapper guy.
A rapper
That's a
guy.
lot. It doesn't help. That doesn't narrow the search.
I'm thinking he was the one guy playing chess, because they said that he was going to be like their creative partner for promotion. So I'm like,
Travis Scott?
okay.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yes.
No,
I'm thinking,
because he got his hands on a PS5 before anyone did last year.
right.
Right.
But I'm thinking, was that maybe that fever dream, was that his doing?
I typed PlayStation
you know what?
rapper guy into Google and it just came up with Parappa. So
Probably.
That's really the rapper I want.
that's that's PlayStation's rapper guy.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I was wondering. I'm like, is this guy's fever dream? Because it's weird.
It's Travis Scott. There you go.
God, okay.
Strategic
Yeah.
creative partnership. That's what it says.
Whatever that means.
Yeah.
What it means is he creates music and they give him their games for free.
Yeah, pretty much. But
Can I get the games
that
for
was
free?
just
I
an
can do.
idea,
I can do stuff. I've got skills. I can't rap.
I
like out behind it. That she
Look
supports
at that! Look,
PlayStation.
I bought the water bottle and everything. Like I've got the water bottle, and I've got the T-shirt from the best PlayStation podcast. And,
Yeah.
That's right.
and
That's a
I
fact.
got your PS5.
I don't. It's really hard to get one.
It's so difficult. Oh my god!
Over
People
here in
keep
the
asking
UK,
me.
it's so bad.
People keep asking me, and I'm just like, I can't help you. I'm sorry.
I cannot help you.
You're on your own. Is there any other games anyone wants to bring up?
What are your thoughts on the Alan Wake?
I mean, my
'Cause
thoughts on Alan Wake is I'm gonna die of excitement because they're remastering Alan Wake, which is cool. You know, I own it on like 3 platforms, but whatever. Like, I'll play a remaster, but like, they're gonna make a sequel, right? They're gonna make a sequel, and that's the part where I'm really excited. Like, I'm looking forward to everybody who hasn't played Alan Wake before picking up the remaster, playing it, and being like, "Hey, this is great." Hopefully.
The only thing from this conference that was a little bit annoying for me was that we knew we got a lot of things that were just leaked and everything, and that was just really disappointing. Like amount of sites that were talking about Alan Wake is going to be at the PlayStation thing, and you're just like, why are you talking about this? I can understand you want the clicks. I can appreciate that. I respect that, but I'm just like, can't you just wait? Literally wait for it to be revealed at the PlayStation conference. To let I'm sure there's many streamers out there who did reactions and went, "Oh my god, Alan Wake, yes, fantastic," and everything. But for a person who has no affinity to Alan Wake, who's only got a little bit hyped because of Amy and her love for Control and the DLC and the giant ass video she did about Control,
90 minutes
and
long,
everything.
baby.
um,
And I made him watch the whole thing.
I helped you with it, so yeah. And talking about Alan Wake and her excitement, then I was just like, it's gonna be there. It's like, oh great. So when it came up, I was just like, that, and I wanted it to be grabbing me. I'm gonna try it because I haven't played it before, but I was still disappointed just the things that's getting announced, stuff leaked and everything. Just like, stop leaking things, guys.
If I was PlayStation or Xbox or Ubi, because it feels like it hits Ubi very hard with the leaks, they need to have like strong penalties for retailers or anybody that leaks it early. Like, just I get why it's never going to happen, because they obviously need them to sell the product, but it kills the hype for an announcement. Because like seeing that at a PlayStation show, a previous Xbox exclusive, show up on a PlayStation showcase, the second one of the showcase, actually, with KOTOR being the first, like that would have been huge for the first time ever on PlayStation gets. And I'm with you, Amy. I played a little bit of it, and I was on Game Pass on PC and really enjoyed it. but I am super excited, especially after playing all of the Control DLC. I am so in on Alan Wake. I hope they make a second one. I love that character, even though I heard he's not the greatest of people in the first game. But like, I'm excited to experience it, and more importantly, do they fix the product placement, or is it still in there? That's the big question.
I never understood that
I'm
product
excited
placement.
to check it out.
Yeah, just grab an
It's like,
Energizer.
grab an Energizer.
Batteries.
Wait, these batteries run out really quickly. No.
Exactly.
I'm gonna get
You
Duracells
should
from
have picked
now
up
on.
Duracell Ultras. I'm excited to check a look at that game. It really does depend for me, but I'm willing to give that a good honest shot. This holiday season's gonna be so big.
We all need to meet back up
Absolutely.
after Alan Wake, so I can just revel in it. Like, as the only person like who feels like you ever played the game. Because I didn't
know Red Dead or Alan Wake.
I chose Alan Wake. I didn't
Ooh,
choose Red
that's
Dead.
high praise. That's high praise.
I played the whole thing in a day.
Wow. Okay. So maybe this is an easy platinum.
It's not that long. There's there's DLC for it, which I imagine is coming with it. But like, there's 6 episodes. It's maybe about 8-9 hours long.
Okay. Dope.
Oh yeah, it's good.
I'm thinking. Oh wait, Knights of the Old Republic. Talk about that for a fresh sec.
Of course, can.
Oh yeah, it's Star Wars.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, people of all ages. This is good. I like this, but there are some worrying aspects. Like Asper Media, they've done ports. They've worked closely with Lucas, but just because you work closely doesn't mean you're up to the task. So that gets me nervous a little bit. Not like caution. That being said, just because you have a big name doesn't mean you're going to make great stuff, i.e. BioWare, i.e. EA, in truth, right? Yeah. So I understand concern, but I would say have it in the back, check on it every once and again, see if it's a reasonable concern, but carry on. The second thing, Revan looks great. He looks fantastic. And just because I'm probably the biggest Star Wars person here, Revan is beloved by the fans. Yes, absolutely beloved. Yes. There was supposed to be in Rebels a holocron of Revans.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They have his model as well. Star Wars leans on the Old Republic for stuff every now and again. So this IP is really important. They cannot touch the story much.
I believe they aren't. They've said they're not going to.
Okay.
They have to let me kiss Bastila this time, though.
Yeah. Smoocher, you need to smooch.
I need smooches. I didn't get them last time.
But what I do think, and I kind of hope, is that this isn't a turn-based game. Papa doesn't like turn-based games much. But I would like an action role-playing game. If it is turn-based, I'll understand. I know, Amy. I know. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I forgive you.
But I'm
you
very
would have to deal with
excited
every
this.
week.
I feel
every
for
week
you.
have to deal with slander.
Like, should we just ditch these two?
What did I do?
I have weeks of evidence to answer that question.
That's true. Day 45.
But in all honesty, this game is not coming out in 4 or 5 years, or till 4 or 5 years. They just started hiring for this project. The one thing that I'm also my question is how timed exclusive is this? Is this a Final Fantasy VII timed exclusive situation where it's like we will never know until it actually comes out, or is this kind of like what it seems like a Final Fantasy situation where it's timed exclusive but just on PC? That's what I'm very curious about. And the one thing that I have questions is, why the hell is Disney letting PlayStation do all this crazy stuff with exclusivity? Why haven't they not done that much with Xbox? Because, yeah, they have Indiana Jones, but that deal was made before the acquisition. So theoretically, we don't really know if that is actually an exclusive.
I highly doubt it. I think it'll be cross-platform, that Indiana Jones game.
Yeah, so for me, it's like, what's the difference? And it's just an idea that gets in my head. What's the difference between PlayStation and Xbox in that regard? Is it the
Unit
Game
sales.
Pass thing? Yeah, I'm like, is that the big thing? Because like, if I'm Microsoft, I'd be like, okay, listen, forget about the big ticket sales. Here's a huge, just how can I curse?
Of course you can. Fucking go
Okay,
for
cool.
it.
Because it is a
no.
metric. It is a metric. A fuck ton of money. And here's a metric fuck ton. Do with what you please, and we'll take, I don't know, Blade. Like, whatever the case may be. I would love to see that.
I would too. Like Blade. Oh god. Like I think with Disney would like what I would like to see Disney do. I hope Disney would do with Xbox is like a game like Wolverine. Is gonna sell fucking shitloads of copies, right? But like if you put in a game like say you want to strike up an exclusive partnership with Xbox for another Marvel character, it's like you instead of it being like a big ticket character, right? Like X-Men is coming to Xbox. Like you might be better off picking a sort of a lesser known character, make a great game out of it, put it in Game Pass. Tons of people are going to try it who wouldn't have bought it for $60, but will try it because it's in Game Pass. Like Blade, for example. That would be a great game. That would be such a good game.
With that, gang, I gotta go.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's good.
My
Thank
guest
you.
is here already. And thank you guys so much for being so understanding and so amazing,
Yeah,
as
of course.
always. I love you all.
I love you. Love you. Mwah.
There's a
Thank you
smooches
for
for
being
everybody.
here.
And you know what?
I'm taking them all.
That's one's for you, audience. All right, see you guys.
See
you later,
ya.
Joseph. All
Thank
the
you,
best, man.
Joseph.
And then there were three.
And there were three.
Then there were three.
Oh, yeah,
At least for
so-
another 5 minutes.
And it's for another 5 minutes. Okay, then. Well, in that case, Kyle.
You talk about what he asked then,
Yeah.
Kyle. What are your thoughts about what he said about Knights and Disney?
Oh
and
yeah,
everything like
I mean, I've never played the Old Republic, so I'm excited to get that chance. Because I've heard great things, and I want to be more into Star Wars than I actually am. Just because I was a late bloomer when it comes to watching Star Wars and stuff. It wasn't until I was older and don't have that attachment, but I know how good that game is from everyone that's ever played it, kind of thing.
Hello.
And as far as the other things about the conference or the showcase, I think it was, like I said, it was a great show. I think something that they are missing that they hit really hard last summer or the lack of indies, really.
Yeah, there's like one.
There was the one where you could go into a crab and a bird and a turtle, which is cute and adorable. But I would love to see where Little Devil Inside is. I would love to see a little bit more about Stray, right? Like that was part of the Annapurna showcase and wasn't even on a PlayStation thing this year. There are more indie things that PlayStation has obviously put money behind and believe in that just weren't there. And I think just a couple more indies in there, I think would have made it feel a little bit more comprehensive. Because that one trailer for, I believe you say the name Tachia.
Yeah,
is how you say that name.
Chia, yeah.
Chia. That felt so out of place because that was like the one happy-go-lucky game in that whole showcase, and it was like.
Yeah, I saw the tweet someone put out.
It felt out of place. So a little bit more like cute little indies in there, I think, would have helped a great deal as far as like.
Yeah, you're not
overall
wrong.
feelings and stuff.
Yeah, Shu, get your finger out your
come on,
butt. Get
Shu,
them. Come on,
Yeah,
Shu.
come
eh?
on.
I'm here
Stop
for the
playing
indie
Fist
games.
and whatever. Like, let's go.
Yeah, we are literally here for the indie games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much as like we love all like what PlayStation Studios are doing, everything, and we're excited for. Like the indie games are where it's at.
Oh,
I love
absolutely.
them, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it, all them.
Like, especially this year, like the indie games have just been incredible. Like, just incredible.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there? I've got you for another few minutes. So, is there anything else,
Yeah.
like wanted to bring up, wanted to talk about?
I mean, I'm more curious as to what PlayStation does for the rest of the year. Honestly, like are we getting a state of play in the next few months, or are we just gonna get a couple of trailers at Game Awards maybe? Like they're at an interesting place as to what they're going to show off and where they're going to show it off. Because like, did they hold back some things for Game Awards? Maybe
Potentially. Like, it's an interesting question because their next thing is Horizon, which
Yes.
Moody, I keep forgetting. When is it? February.
February.
Yeah. He keeps having to remind me. I keep saying March like it's 2017. So like, is there anything happening on PlayStation between now and Horizon, or is it like batten down the hatches, wait for Horizon?
I mean, besides Deathloop being in like Kana, it's pretty much all like, yeah.
Why wasn't there a Kano trailer at the showcase? Wait, hold on.
I don't know, Amy.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
What?
That's out in a couple of weeks.
Hold
It
on.
would have been a great place to show it. Yeah, I think it really is just wait for Horizon. If their plan is to do like a major game every couple of months, they definitely need to show something.
Yeah.
For in between Horizon, or basically in between GT and God of War, whenever that comes out.
Yeah, sort of like a summer and late summer sort of thing.
Like, yeah, I could have sworn like Final Fantasy 16 would have been there.
Yeah, it's a soft spot for me.
That was supposed to come out this year.
I know. I need
I
it.
think what? Do you think it's not even going to be next year now? Because they haven't spoke about it?
I think a couple weeks ago we said on the Trophy Room that they just started recording like the English voiceover or something.
They're doing that first as well, so
it's probably pretty far along or pretty far away.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if it's not until like spring of 2023.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of happy because 2022 is looking stupid right now.
Oh my God!
Absolutely, it is.
The first 2 or 3 months are gonna literally feel like we are getting murdered in our wallets.
Absolutely, and time. Like I won't be able to see anybody or talk to anybody.
It's like, do you want to come out for a single
my favorite console or have a social life?
Yeah.
Oh God!
Exactly.
Oh God!
Where I can contract a disease or be safe with my favorite games. Oh God!
Oh God! Horizon's already in my hand.
Oh man, yeah, it's wild.
All right, Kyle. It's been amazing to have you and Joseph on the podcast. Oh, it's been great. Like, it's been too long.
Thank you so much. Absolutely, yeah. Well, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thanks for having me, and let's go PlayStation.
Yeah, let's go PlayStation.
Let's go PlayStation. Much love, Kyle. Have a good one.
Bye.
Have
Love
a good
you
one. You too.
Bye. And then there was 2.
Then there was 2. Now we do the real podcast. The podcast.
Yes.
The podcast we keep from our very nice special guest friends because I still want them to be my friends after this. That was awesome. Yeah.
Is there any final thoughts you want to say about the PlayStation show before we move on?
Number one, play Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast. Go find it on YouTube. Go find it on iTunes, Spotify, everywhere else. Kyle and Joseph, fantastic guys. I've known them for a while. Moody's known them for even longer. And I love them both.
They're absolutely amazing people.
Yeah, they are.
They also reached out personally for what happened to me in my life, and I remember that.
Yeah.
And so did Kyle. Kyle was wondering why I left the Discord. I said I left a message in the Discord. I'm leaving just for a while for personal reasons, and he messaged me, and I told him. And I was thinking
those 2 guys, knowing those 2 guys and like talking with them and stuff. They're like, it's like a hug.
Yeah, it's a big old hug. It's
a
really
big old
is.
hug, and I love the fact that we got to merge our 2 podcasts.
We've been talking about trying to do this, and I literally did it as a whim. Of just like,
you did.
And I messaged him. Let's see if we can get him. I messaged them both in a tweet together, and in a private message together. And I was like, "Yo, join us on Sunday," and they both said yes. And I was like, "Oh my God!"
Because you messaged me. Because you messaged me and you said, "Should I try and get them?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah, but like, can you get them?" Because I was busy, and just messaged them. And I thought, we'll get one. We'll get one.
Yes,
of them.
I thought that.
If we're lucky, we'll get one of them. And then you message me, they're both coming. And when you like, you think something, you go, yeah, that's a great idea, but now it's actually happening. And I was like,
oh God,
oh God. Who's in charge of the podcast? I'm in charge of the podcast. Oh shit.
Is it cool? Review? No.
Be cool. Be cool. They're fantastic. You should definitely check out their podcast because it is fantastic. Is there any other games that happened that we haven't really touched upon too much that you want to mention?
The only one, there's 2 more. I'll bring up one that Kyle brought up, obviously. So, Forspoken, that just literally went up with what he said. That who's writ that game. I'm just like, Amy Hennig, Gary Whittaker. wait, what? The person who did the score for Ragnarok's dude, for God of War's dude? Yes, just that alone. It's got me. And there's a cute cat.
Like that did. Well. But I coming out of the PlayStation showcase, I was more excited about Forspoken, because of the context that it gave to the story, right? Where it's just like we'd seen it last year or earlier this year, whenever it was the last time, and it was like, oh, it looks cool, and I knew Gary Whitta was writing it, and I was like, hey, it looks cool. It looks like a cool little fantasy game. But then they showed you the story, right? Where it was like, oh, it's a girl from the modern day who goes through a portal, and now she's in this fantasy world. And I was like, wait, this is cool. This is cool. I want to play this. When can I play it? Spring 2022. Another one in 2022.
Yeah, 2022 is stupidly going to be. Whole Crossing is going to be stupidly good.
We keep talking about what do you think for E3 2022? What do you think is going to happen? I don't know if I'm going to survive to E3 2022.
June, us too. There's been so many games.
I can't. You want me to think about new games? Have you seen this backlog?
And that's on top of the backlog that we've still got this year.
Don't remind me. I've got I feel like I've got games that aren't out yet, and I've got them in my backlog already because I'm just like, oh, not playing that.
Not playing that on day one. And all of that, it's just the only one that comes to mind is literally I said when it was written out, when we saw the first trailer E3 from Square Enix, I was saying that Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, I really enjoyed it. I thought they got the characters and everything down pretty damn good. They felt fun. I don't know what they've done, but this trailer sucked all the energy out for me, and I was like, oh God, what's happened here? What's changed? I don't know. It just, my enthusiasm was there, and it's literally done a plummet. And I was like, what's happened here? I'm gonna still play this. I'm gonna give it a try, but the enthusiasm just left me, and I was like, wait, come back.
Wait, no. Where's the funny trailer where Peter was definitely having sex with a tentacle monster? I'm gonna be honest with you. I can not remember. I can't remember the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer.
But I think about it was in that lull period. It was literally in that lull period where everyone was just like, "Oh my God, Star Wars, yes!" Yeah.
And then wait, I hear what? I hear Spider-Man. What? I got two I want to just quickly mention before we get into to the news of the week. Number one, I'm gonna bring up Cheer again. Kyle was right where he said it stood out because obviously it stuck out like a sore thumb because the entire conference was murder, death, violence, play a ukulele and turn into a turtle.
I think it was literally sandwiched between Deathloop and GTA 5.
No, it wasn't. It was funnier. It was sandwiched between Deathloop and it was Ghostwire Tokyo.
Oh my goodness. With that trailer also didn't help me either. I was just like, what the hell's going on here? I don't know what's going on.
It was sandwiched between and but it stood out to me. It's the one I got excited for. It's the one obviously I tweeted about when I was tweeting you. It's the one I was sending. It turns out a lot of people come to me for game recommendations, right? Because it's just the nature of what I do on YouTube. But it turns out a lot of people come to me specifically to point out the cute cozy games. So I got the link for the trailer on Twitter, and I sent it to tons of people, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, that looks awesome!" And I was like, "Yeah, it does.
It really did. Yeah,
it really does."
Did. I'd say, I think it's fair to say that was our favorite thing from the conference. As much as we are excited for God of War and Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine, what we've already said, Wolverine is 4 or 5 years away.
Yeah, it's there's games that I'm really excited for, but they're so far away. Forspoken, yep, I'm excited for that. Alan Wake, I'm excited for other people to play that. Rather than I'm not so excited for myself. I've played it 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
But yeah, hell fucking yeah. I'm excited for that. And the second one is, really quickly, is Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy coming on PC. I love those games.
Yeah. I loved Uncharted 4 and The Lost Legacy. I loved those games so much. And just to think that then it's just a decision. It's like, do I hold out and try and pray to God that one day, maybe next year, 2022, that I get a PlayStation 5 and then go for it then when it comes out? Or do I just go for it and say, let's get it on PC, Moody.
I mean,
Let's get it on PC.
you've got your cool bitchin' PC, right?
And use the Xbox controller for it.
And use the Xbox controller.
When you elite my elite controller too. The Halo one.
Uncharted with an elite controller.
Yeah, with the Halo skin.
That would be amazing. I would love that.
It's gonna be coming for me.
Oh shit! You made everybody mad.
What are you doing? Like, wait, what?
You just reenacted about 1,000 TikToks I've seen. Oh my god, we've become so intelligent. They appear stupid to us. Okay, that was the PlayStation Showcase. It was fine. The games were great. This is what I'm talking about. Like, the presentation was not great, but if you sit down and actually talk about the stuff that was in the presentation, is really good.
They had games for everybody.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So, like, even though I said maybe like the Guardians made me go, I'm not excited for that anymore. I'm sure people are excited for that, and I'm rooting for it. I'm rooting for that. I'm rooting for all the games there,
except the one I left off the list because it was a Ubisoft game.
Yep. Because it's been 28 days, ladies and gentlemen, and they have not responded.
So on that note, we've put it off long enough. Shall we get into the rest of the podcast?
Hell to the yeah. Yes, let's talk about someone whining because they got cancelled.
Cancelled, yeah, sure. Tripwire CEO out after tweeting support for Texas abortion ban. This is from Nicole Carpenter over at Polygon. You know, just before we start reading the news story, I do want to point out that like this was the thing that was happening in the world, and I know this, and I've tweeted about it, and I've talked about it, and I've like given money and done all sorts of stuff to try and like support because it's horrific what's happening in Texas. But this was the one news story that was happening in the world where I was like, oh, at least we don't have to do this on the podcast. And then John fucking Gibson had to open his fucking mouth and be a dick. I kind of put
the door on my window. Okay.
I kind of put the commentary at the you can go. It's fine. I kind of put the commentary at the beginning rather than the end. I should read the news story. Like I said, this is from Nicole Carpenter over at Polygon, who writes, John Gibson, the CEO of Tripwire Interactive, developer of Maneater and the Killing Floor games, has stepped down from his role following a tweet in support of a Texas anti-abortion law that went into effect in September. The law, which effectively bans abortions after the 6th week of pregnancy, Vox reported, violates earlier rulings that protect a person's right to choose to have an abortion. Gibson tweeted on September 4th in support of the anti-abortion measures, quote, proud of US Supreme Court affirming the Texas law banning abortion for babies with a heartbeat. As an entertainer, I don't get political often, yet with so many vocal peers on the other side of this issue, I felt it was important to go on the record as a pro-life game developer, end quote. Gibson faced criticism across the video game industry and on social media, with several current employees tweeting in opposition of the former CEO's views. Shipwright Studios, a game co-developer, said it was cancelling existing contracts with Tripwire. Torn Banner Studios, the developer behind Chivalry 2, which Tripwire published, spoke out against Gibson's comments, saying they were, quote, in opposition to what we believe about women's rights, end quote. On Monday night, Tripwire announced that Gibson has stepped down with co-founding member Alan Wilson now operating as interim CEO. There was a Tripwire statement published to their website which said, quote, the comments given by John Gibson are of his own opinion and do not reflect those of Tripwire Interactive as a company. His comments disregarded the values of our whole team, our partners, and much of our broader community. Our leadership team at Tripwire are deeply sorry and are unified in our commitment to take swift action and to foster a more positive environment. End quote. Tripwire said Wilson, quote, will work with the rest of the Tripwire leadership team to take steps with employees and partners to address their concerns, including executing a company-wide town hall meeting and promoting open dialogue with Tripwire leadership and all employees. His understanding of both the company's culture and the creative vision of our games will carry the team through this transition with full support from other Tripwire leaders, end quote. Texas Governor Greg Abbott, Republican, signed the anti-abortion law in May. The law, called SB 8, went into effect last week, backed by a Supreme Court opinion that said it could take effect. The law has been criticized as, quote, a maze of procedural complexities, end quote, by Vox, which described it as appearing to be drafted to intentionally frustrate lawsuits challenging its constitutionality. This is because the government itself isn't enforcing its ban on abortions as early as 6 weeks, as soon as the heartbeat can be detected. Instead, the law gives power to private citizens to sue abortion providers. Quote, this unusual provision makes it harder for abortion rights groups to sue state officials to block the law, since they aren't technically the ones who will enforce it, end quote. The 6 weeks time frame is important because many people do not even know they're pregnant before this deadline. Certain medical emergencies could exempt a person from the law, but those exemptions do not include pregnancies resulting from rape. I thought the context was important at the end there.
Well, a typical CEO coming out thinking he can. Yeah, I'll say this right now. You can say whatever the hell you want. I don't really care what he says. I don't agree with it. I think what he said was stupid and idiotic. And I'm really happy to hear that the company's literally worked and said, "Yo, you're gonna have to move aside here." Most of our people, pretty much, I would say, going off what I've seen online, the majority of the people who work at Tripwire do not agree with what he has said. So it's made his place very untenable, and it's right to be called out for it. Like, you can say whatever you want, but doesn't mean you are not going to suffer consequences for this.
Yes.
Like, I can, like, many times, like, I could, just use me as a thing. If I wanted to, I could literally tweet out the worst crap in the world. It could be racist, it could be sexist, it could be in just because of what's happening on the internet as well, transphobic or anything. Could be the worst shit in the world. And I deserve to keep people calling me out for that. And I would deserve that. Even if that was my own views or anything like that, which it is not. I would deserve that. And, like, it's just seeing people saying stupid things like this. At the end of the day, I'll just say this right now. No people, government, God itself, whatever, has the right to choose what a person can do to their body. And at all. And that's a bigger thing in general to this alone. This is just about the abortion thing. I'm just meaning in a freaking general. Yeah. Nobody gets to decide what you can and cannot do to your body. And this person personally is just like, he said some stupid stuff and he's got what he's deserved.
My views on the anti-abortion law in Texas are it's barbaric. And, like, I fine if you're a Christian person and you believe certain Christian things, that's fine for you, but you should, like, don't impose that on other people, like, because your little book says a thing that everybody should have to live that way. If you want to live according to the Bible, be my guest, but I'm not going to live according to the Bible, and I don't think anyone should be forced to live according to the Bible. And this is what those very same people will say is happening. You know, like, you always hear about these people going like, oh, do you like every time there's immigrants right now because of the horrific things that are happening in Afghanistan, and these people will say, well, if we get too many of them in, we'll have to live under Sharia law. It's like, it's the same thing. That's not happening because you're a delusional nut job, but it's the same thing as what you are literally doing right now in Texas. People are having to live under the Bible, whether they are Christian or not, and it's sick, and I hate it. Now, to the story. You are absolutely correct. Everything you just said, I agree with 100%. John Gibson tweeted out some shit. Whether I agree with it or not is irrelevant. He can tweet out whatever he wants. It's his Twitter account. But freedom of speech does not mean freedom from the consequences of the things that you say. He said some stuff, and there were consequences. He's the CEO of a company. He said the thing. The people who work for him disagreed. The partners disagreed. Some of them tried to cancel their contracts with them. That's what happens. Sorry.
This is how, like I say, we don't agree what he says with or anything like that. He can say what he wants. But how bad it was, has affected the company, and that's what that made his job even more untenable. Where people are literally pulling out their contracts, where you guys are no longer going to get any money from these companies.
Yeah.
Like you're losing out. What he has said has basically damaged the company and their reputation right now.
Yeah, it has. Like there was a list going around before John Gibson stepped down from his position, which was, so here's all the games that not to play. And I was like, yeah, okay, that's fair. Like, that's where you want to go. That's where you want to go with it. Like,
but he's tweeted out games not to play.
No. Other people have been like, here's the Tripwire games to avoid.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure though.
Because of this, because that's like the first thing you can sort of do to sort of go, well, I'm not happy about this as a person who obviously doesn't work there. Yeah, it's you got what you knew you were gonna get. I can't imagine a world in which he didn't know what was gonna happen once he tweeted this out.
Yeah,
like if I worked somewhere and my boss tweeted out something like this, or like this was, and I knew this was their view. Like this was their view. Like how can I work for that person?
Yeah.
When we're on that, like supporting different sports teams is one thing, right? Like, or like, you know, this is a whole different thing where it's like, can I even trust you? Like,
yeah, it really is. It's like you can be whatever the hell you want, but also whatever you want to be can have consequences, and you have to abide by those consequences. You have to accept those consequences.
Yeah,
and that's just how it is.
All right, one down. Should we move on?
Let's do this. I think it's been good doing that PlayStation thing with Kyle and Joseph because it's keeping me in a good spirit. I know what else is coming, but I feel like I'm going to stay in good spirit.
It's given us the energy for the last part of the podcast.
Hell yeah. Thank you, Joseph and Kyle.
Thank you, Joseph and Kyle. We love you. Mwah. Crusader Kings developer Paradox accused of bullying and gender discrimination. This is from Wesley Impool over at Eurogamer. He writes, Crusader Kings developer Paradox has been accused of bullying and gender discrimination. Swedish publication Break It reported on a union-led employee survey conducted in August that found almost half of the 133 staff who participated experienced mistreatment. According to Break It, the survey results show the problems are mainly about bullying and gender discrimination and, quote, worst for women, end quote. 69% of the women who responded said they had experienced mistreatment. The corresponding figure for men was 33%. Quote, mistreatment is a systemic and far too common issue at Paradox, the union said in conclusion. End quote. Another complaint raised is that, quote, high-level perpetrators are perceived as shielded by the company, end quote. The survey also highlights a culture of silence at Paradox. Breakit said the results of the survey, which were conducted by Swedish unions SACO and Unionen, were presented to Paradox's HR manager and then CEO Ebba Lungerud last Monday before staff were told on Wednesday. That same day, 1st of September, Paradox announced Lungerud had stepped down as CEO due to differing views on the company's strategy going forward, with former CEO Frederick Wester becoming boss once again. Wester told Breakit that Lungerud's exit had nothing to do with the survey results. This point was reiterated to Eurogamer by a representative of the SACO and Union and boards at Paradox, who also stressed the survey only covered Paradox's Sweden operation. Paradox issued a statement to Eurogamer today calling the survey results not satisfactory. I'll read the full survey, the full quote. Shouldn't I?
Go on.
Quote, we are aware of a survey undertaken inside the company on this topic and of the results, which are obviously not satisfactory. The management team wants to ensure that this data is acted upon, but taking immediate, direct action is legally difficult thanks to the informal nature of the survey, and thanks to the results being shared just before we underwent this CEO change, which has been fairly busy for us. We are currently working to reconcile the informal survey with our own internal research and are eager to take action. Paradox is now in the process of bringing in an external neutral firm to conduct a thorough audit of our processes and a comprehensive employee survey. This will help us advance our efforts towards all of the subjects that we've worked to improve in recent years. Harassment and abuse will be paramount amongst those. But we'll also be examining subjects like unbiased hiring and compensation, ongoing bias awareness, inclusion, and more, end quote.
I think Sterling got it spot on. I love the industry, but goddamn, I hate this industry at the same time. Burn it bloody down sometimes. I really am. I do feel like that sometimes. And let's go back. What is it? Bullying and gender discrimination is a cancer. Bullying in general, myself, I always consider that as a cancer. It is a disgusting thing, and it broadens out into so many different aspects of what type of bullying is. Gender discrimination itself is bullying, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just be frank here, and it is disgusting and it's vile. The CEO leaving, I know, didn't it say in the article says it's not. It's not a part of this.
No, it couldn't possibly have it. The timing is weird. Like, he was obviously already planning to leave.
Yeah, but he's obviously been in charge of a work culture that has bullying and then gender discrimination. So
Yeah.
he's got himself out of Dodge. It sounds like. I might be completely wrong. I am throwing accusations there, and I do apologize that because I might completely wrong. He might be a spot on dude, and he's literally just like, my time is done. It's now time for me to move on, type of thing.
So here's the thing with that. Sorry, I gotta interject now. Like, here's the thing with that. You might be a spot on dude. Yeah, he was still, and this was obviously coincidental. He was still in charge, and this was still happening.
Yes, I completely agree. No, I just wanted to I had Keith in the back of my mind a little bit there. And I was just like, I better just making sure that we don't get sued, this type of thing. They say, he might be the greatest dude in the world.
I am amazed we've never been sued.
That is true, yeah. But no, yeah, it's, you're in charge. Come on, you've basically got out of Dodge here personally. But either way, I hope with the new CEO who's come in or come back in, either way, they are taking this seriously and they're doing what it sounds like. It sounds like they are taking this seriously, and hopefully, I hope the guard further down the line will hear things are now different at this place. Things have been better. They've got rid of the deadwood trash, the bullies, the discriminators, the toxic people out, and brought in a whole new people, and it's now rejuvenated the whole place, and they can get onto Crusader Kings 2 or whatever the hell game it is, 4, yeah, and do that and bring out hopefully another highly rated great game for everyone to play and everything. I hope that, but yeah, it does sound like the old CEO's got out of Dodge there a little bit to me.
Oh, okay. We will.
Go, Amy. I feel like you've got something to say.
No, you said it. You said it all. I got the thing.
Fantastic.
Like, yeah, it's like it's hard to talk about because it's like this just happened. We have no stories. We just know about the gender discrimination and the bullying, which I don't want to downplay. That is very serious, but
it's a cancer. It really is disgusting.
It's horrific. I hate that it's happening again to another studio. But like we all know, you, me, everybody like out there like knows that this isn't confined to who we've already talked about, and we'll hear more stories like this in the future. And yeah, it's a case of what happens next. Like, this is what we want to see. What happens next? Like, we've seen a company like do absolutely nothing.
Basically ignoring it.
We've seen another company. We'll talk about that in a bit. A different one in a bit, and it's just which direction Paradox takes it at this point, and we'll keep an eye on it. Hopefully, like, they want to use a third-party neutral firm to conduct a thorough audit of their processes. Hopefully, use the different one from Ubisoft. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep.
Moving on. Twitch sues users over hate raids. This is from Jeffrey Rousseau over at GamesIndustry.biz, who writes, yesterday, streaming site Twitch filed a lawsuit against users who are allegedly behind recent hate raids. As reported by Wired, the complaint alleges that users Cruise Control and Creatine Overdose are responsible. The company said in the suit that Twitch has zero tolerance for hateful conduct and that it values the diversity of its community. The case states that Twitch took swift action and spent significant resources investigating and banning defendants to halt their actions. However, they've evaded those measures by creating multiple accounts and by regularly changing the software code they use to automate their hate raids. Twitch says Cruise Control is responsible for nearly 3,000 bot accounts, while Creatine Overdose is admitted to using the bots and showing others how they operate. Additionally, the case states that Twitch believes the accused are part of a hate-raiding community. The company also believes the two individuals are operating out of the Netherlands and Austria. Twitch has taken legal action against bots makers before. In 2018, it won a case against users who artificially inflated a Twitch channel's number of viewers and followers. Swift action.
apart from that terrible quote of swift action and all like that, this is
Swift action.
this is something. At the end of the day, they need to still do more. I'm just going to state this as a fact here. Twitch still need to do more. I saw like a friend of ours tweet out, said like he had one great day, like an amazing day. Like he was on the front of the page. The next day he tweeted out, oh, and it's basically the screen of like who was in his chat, and he's basically like, well, I know what type of day I'm going to get today, and I'm just like, oh, for God's sakes, to go from that to that in 2 flicking days, and that's still the thing. Twitch, like, they going after 2 days, yes, okay, fantastic, and I hope you're able to stop this and everything from them, but
well,
you still need to do more.
Yeah, you do. Like, I mean, we've like had some of the bot accounts, the precursor bot accounts. We've had those follow us. We had some on Phasmophobia Day. It's just like, you get a follow, right, on Twitch, and this barely happened, like, compared to like what we've seen it happen to other people, but like, on a small scale, you get a follow, and it's horrible to not like have to check in with that follow and make sure you don't know what's, like, in case of what's about to happen. Like, you can't just sit there and be on Twitch and enjoy it and banter with your community and chat with your community, and just, you have to, and like, a new person comes in, and you couldn't just, you can't just be like, hi, welcome, like, here we, like, let's vibe. It's like, you side eye it, and you're like, is this it? Is this gonna happen? Is this a person? Is this a bot? Who knows? And like, we've seen it over and over again from all sorts of different streamers, and Twitch did not take swift action. I don't even know if, like, allegedly, I don't even know if they have a zero tolerance for hateful conduct at this point. I really don't. It doesn't feel like they do. Like, they bring up the ways in which, like, people who control these bots have evaded their measures. So by creating multiple accounts, it's because you can create an unlimited amount of accounts with one email address. Twitch, there's a very easy solution to fix that. Like, you can't stop it. At least make it more difficult. At least put a roadblock in.
Yeah, make it difficult for them, because they'll get bored of creating new emails over and over again really fast. Knowing that they can just use one email and get away with it, that's their thing. But if you take away their kryptonite, if you use their kryptonite against them, they'll stop. They'll back off, like, because they like as they've made it so easy for themselves, they can do it so easy. But if you make it difficult for them, they'll get bored.
Yeah, you won't be able to stop.
It's a terrible thing just to think that. It's like, if you just cut their stuff away, they'll get bored and everything like that. You should still find them and get these people arrested or sue the crap out of them, everything like that. What you're doing with these 2 places, but that's just the thing is about it, and they'll get bored so fast. Because they won't be getting what they want. They won't be getting the, oh yes, I'm doing something evil and all like that. And they'll get like that's how it is. They aren't getting the thrill that they want. And if you take that thrill away from them, they'll stop.
Sure.
Theoretically,
I mean, it's an escalating, never-ending thing. But like,
it seems like it's happening more and more.
The idea is, like, when one side of like this escalates, the other side has to rise to meet it, which Twitch hasn't done. This is why it feels like it's getting worse, because it is getting worse. Like, it is becoming more frequent, and the problem now is there's eyes on it. Twitch aren't doing anything meaningful to combat it right now, so they're doing it more because more people are seeing it, and the more people that see it, they'll do it more. And if Twitch doesn't do something about it, it's going to get worse, and it's going to get worse. And like, we've had a day off Twitch. We've seen the impact that had, as Foxes would have said, pressure for change. Like, is a fantastic thing. But like, eventually, people are going to be driven off of Twitch. Yeah. People have already been driven off of Twitch, and more people will be driven off of Twitch. When you have to sit and spend an entire stream not playing games, not chatting with the community, not doing whatever it is that you do on Twitch, and instead you have to deal with hate raid after hate raid, like, at a certain point, you just got to say, well, why am I here? There's other platforms for me. Mixer being around right now would have been great, but they're not.
It's called Facebook.
No, well, I mean, yeah, sure. Like, oh yeah, let's move to Facebook. There's no problems on Facebook? But like I said a couple of weeks ago when we first talked about this, like even Facebook does a better job of stopping shit like this than Twitch. And when Facebook's doing a better job than you at anything, you've really got to take a look in the mirror. Oh dear.
Do better, Twitch.
Do better, Twitch. Let's move on. Ubisoft activist group hopes to see meaningful response from newly appointed CCO. This is from Andrea Sheeran over at The Gamer, who writes, Ubisoft announced that today-ish, that Igor Mancher has been promoted to Chief Creative Officer at the company. Mancher replaces Serge Haskell, who resigned last year over allegations of sexual misconduct. Workers' rights group Better Ubisoft has issued a response to Mancher's promotion. Spelling error. Mancher is now a direct report to Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot, who has also come under fire for his response to abuse allegations that Ubisoft employees say wasn't good enough. A statement from Ubisoft says Mancher will, quote, be responsible for defining and nurturing Ubisoft's overall creative vision and guiding the creative direction of its games so that they are accessible, irresistible, and enriching for all players, end quote. Sorry, I scrolled down too far. Mancher's duties will include working with company studios to include diverse perspectives and sensibilities on Ubisoft's projects. His career with the company began in 1998 in business marketing, working on franchises like Far Cry, Rainbow Six, and Splinter Cell. Mancher's promotion follows another statement from current and former employees in May, saying nothing has changed after the abuse allegations began. A Better Ubisoft responded to Mancher's new position, opening that the group of former and current employees were, quote, looking forward to working with him, quote, towards their goals, and directing the CCO to an open letter signed by over 1,000 colleagues. The letter called out Ubisoft's poor response after a year of inaction from the company, saying employees, quote, received kind words, empty promises, and an inability or unwillingness to remove known offenders, end quote. A Better Ubisoft hopes to see a meaningful response, but highlighted concerns that this hire does contradict Yves' statement, where he said editorial leadership should be redefined and the creative officer role would not be consolidated to one individual. Quote, there is no clear expression of the creative process, and there is a shocking lack of diversity in the VPs, read the statement from A Better Ubisoft. Mancher and the former executive he replaces are both white men. The group notes that 2 more VPs were to be hired, but that Ubisoft failed to pursue further progress after it hired Bio Jade Adam Granger as VP of Ubisoft's editorial team in February of this year. Quote, currently, as it stands, the creative team at Ubisoft is composed of white people who are of uniform cultural backgrounds. Continued A Better Ubisoft. The group expressed its lack of confidence in the future shape of the editorial team and reminded the company that VP editorial Patrick Plaude maintained his role after multiple reports of misconduct, and Serge Haskell's former right hand was still involved with high-level recruitment.
I said the wrong number last time. I will rephrase it. 46 days since the 1,000 current or former Ubisoft employees signed an open letter to management. 46 days of us recording, so by the time this launches, it'll be 47 days, probably.
Bold of you to assume I'd get the podcast out on time.
That's true as well. This smells of the CEO literally trying to duck and cover here. And that he's trying to literally say, you do this, I'm staying out the hell out of the way for a while. And you're only going to see me when we do our Ubisoft forward. And it's going to be like at the end saying, we are good. Bye. All that. And you're just like, God. And it's like, God. Yeah. How do you say his name? Yaviz.
Eve. Like Christmas Eve.
Eve. Okay. Eve, you need to go. I don't care. You need to go. Whatever aspect that you either knew or didn't know still makes you a terrible, neglective boss. So I'm just saying that again. You need to go. I don't know much about this new person who's come in at all. I don't know if this person is a good person or a bad person or anything like that. So I'm hoping that it is that this person who comes in will speak to a better Ubisoft and literally say, let's try and sort something here. Let's try and sort something here. I don't think anything's going to happen here.
See,
whatsoever.
I want to believe things can get better. You know I want to, but I don't think they are based on this.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. Like, I'm trying to be like, thankfully, Joseph and Kyle, like I said, they've kept me a little bit positive and hyped here. So I'm trying to think, Ubisoft, we know you can be goddamn better, for God's sakes.
Igor Manche has been promoted to Chief Creative Officer. The red flag, I mean, apart from the fact that, Yves Gilmour said, we're not going to have one person be a chief creative officer, and then he's appointed one person as his chief creative officer who happens to be a white guy, he's worked at the company since 1998. That's not the guy you hire if you want things to change.
Oh, so he's hired inside.
He's hired inside. His career with the company began in 1998, working on franchises like Far Cry, Rainbow Six, and Splinter Cell. That's not. And again, like I echo what a better Ubisoft have said, where they're hopeful that like they could talk to this person and like to see a meaningful response, especially to their open letter. But you don't hire someone who's been at the company for coming up to 20, 23, 24 years, like as the guy who to usher in change.
Well, I'll counter just to a little bit. I agree to a certain point, but for me would be you can, but you still do what you said you were going to do. You hire from outside and bring in two diverse voices who haven't been tainted by the Ubisoft effect. I would completely agree overall saying they should have just brought in 3 new people outside altogether. But as a counter, I can understand bringing someone up and everything like that. But you should have agreed to what you said, is bringing 2 other people from outside. All together, 3 people where they can all work together and literally do what is needed for Ubisoft. Ubisoft, we know, is a great company. We know they throw out great games for the most part. Yes, they're getting a bit wary and a bit sickly of how it's the same thing over and over again. But they have an incredible history that we want to be talking about in a great light. I'm sick of saying this every time we talk about this company or Activision and everything like that. We want to be talking about them in a great light. They have the heritage that Ubisoft has is a heritage to be in gaming to be proud of. For the toxic culture, you should be all fired basically with the higher ups and everything for it.
Yeah, and like we both know that there are people that work there that, like, in terms of like developers, like, that are amazing people, and we know that they're incredibly talented, fantastic people. They deserve a lot better.
They really do. So I hope I have a better Ubisoft on my Twitter. I follow them and I have them on like notifications. So if they tweet out, I get the notification for it, so I know what's happened.
Yeah. So
I'm always keeping an eye on this.
So I've been reading the tweets for the last couple of weeks. But what I'm going to do is, because we've done the news story, we're pressed for time. I'm going to save the tweets for next week, and then I'm going to read everything. So like 2 weeks worth of tweets in next week's podcast. I don't want anyone to be like, "Oh, you said you were going to do it and you skipped it after only a couple of weeks." It's like, we did a story, we're moving on. I'm going to do 14 tweets next week. And I'm going to keep doing it until things fucking change. So, moving on to the next news story. Riot Games diversity figures slowly inching up. This is from Marie D. Lissandri over at GamesIndustry.biz, who writes, Riot Games has published its annual diversity and inclusion report showing a slight increase in the representation of women and people from underrepresented backgrounds at the company. 24% of Riot staff globally were women in 2020, the report showed, and 10.2% of the US staff were underrepresented minorities, URM, defined as Black or African American, Hispanic, Latin. I don't know how to pronounce this, and I've never looked it up. Hold on, I want to look it up. How to pronounce? How to pronounce Latin? Pronouncing the X is the name of the, so you get something like Latinx. Oh, okay. I know how to do it now. URM defined as black. Sorry about that, everybody. URM defined as black or African American, Hispanic, Latinx, or Spanish origin, and Native American or Alaska Native in the US. This compared to 22% of women globally in 2019 and 9.2% of URMs in the US. Looking at new hires, the number of women declined year on year, with 28% of new hires globally being women in 2020 versus 32% in 2019. In terms of leadership, 29% of Riot's executive team are women versus 27% in 2019. Underrepresented minorities represented 22% of Riot's leadership in 2020 versus 18% in 2019, and 14% of new hires were URMs compared to 13% the year before. Alongside the report, Riot's Chief Diversity Officer Angela Roseborough commented to say that the past year has been, quote, beyond challenging and a moment to remember that D&I is not meant to be a crisis function, but rather a business strategy. She added, I believe in Riot Games and what Rioters are doing here to make real change for ourselves, players, and the industry as a whole. We will continue to listen, learn, and grow because the work is never done. The path we are on is not an easy one, but it is a worthwhile one, end quote. Riot published its first annual report about its diversity efforts last year, following an in-depth article from Kotaku in 2018 highlighting its sexist workplace culture. The report led to a class action lawsuit against Riot, which is still ongoing.
Okay, taking aside the class action lawsuit against them, that needs to kick their butt, like we've said on multiple occasions. This is good. Things are slowly moving. Yes, I agree with everybody. We would wish it to move faster. That's what we always wanted to do, but sadly, that doesn't happen in that way. It just doesn't work that way, sadly. But hopefully, this is slowly moving. This is what we want to hear. This is this is what we want to hear. That things are changing. With a company that has had sexual discrimination, the whole thing, lawsuits against them right now, they're showing that they are actually trying and changing stuff. There's no doubt about it. I'm pretty sure.
We can see it in the figures as well. It's not like the time Ubisoft said, "Oh, we are changing. Trust us." Lol.
Yeah.
We can see it in numbers and percentages.
Yeah. And this is what we want, and that's I'll take my cap off to Riot Games. Well done. Still need more, but well done. You're going in the direction that we want you to do.
Yeah, they are absolutely. It's very slow. I wish it was faster as well. They are moving in the direction. In a correct direction. They've hit some monumental speed bumps in the past couple of years, and if they do it again, we'll talk about it again. There's one quote from Angela Roseborough that I hope to fucking Christ isn't just a soundbite and is actually a belief at the company, because it's fantastic, and every company in the entire world needs to take this quote to heart. This is a moment to remember that diversity and inclusion is not meant to be a crisis function, but rather a business strategy. Diversity and inclusion isn't a button you push when you get in trouble for being terrible at something. It's something that you should just do all the time. That's a fucking phenomenal quote, and I really hope that is part of the core ethos of Riot Games, and it needs to be part of the core ethos of everyone. I read this quote, I read this news article, and I read that quote, and I was blown away by that quote.
I hope. My hopes are all with you, Riot Games. I haven't said that, I don't think, ever since I've been on this podcast. I am hoping, my hopes are with you, Riot Games. You are going in the right direction. This is what we want to see. This is what we want to see from all companies.
Yeah, it needs to. This is like companies that are out there right now that haven't been hit by the toxic work culture news story, right? That think they're coasting along, getting away with it. This still needs to be your approach to this too. Even if you aren't hiding a toxic work culture right now, this should still be your approach, because it's a fucking phenomenal approach. Yeah. And I'm not saying Riot Games are doing this, and I'm we've got numbers that say things are getting better, but I can't speak to the internal working culture of Riot Games right now. But what I'm talking about is that one specific line. And if Riot Games are doing that, brilliant. Everybody should be doing that. Diversity and inclusion should just be a business strategy. It's a great
Hell
business
yes.
strategy. Right, we've got one last news story. I've trimmed it a bit. We're ending on a positive. Bugsnax developer permanently shifts to 4-day weeks. This is from Natalie Clayton over at PC Gamer, who writes, Bugsnax and Octodad developer Young Horses has permanently shifted to a 4-day work week, following a unanimous decision to give the shorter work week a trial run back in July. Speaking to Axios, studio founder Phil Tibitorski noted that the studio already expected staff to only be working 35-hour weeks. Cutting a day off has lowered that expectation to 32 hours. Quote, might as well give people the peace of mind that they can relax doing their own thing on their own time than have someone feel guilty for doing it at work, said Tibitorski. We know what we have to get done and by when, or we're making our own schedule entirely and things get done when they are done. End quote. Overwork is a constant issue in the games industry, and we frequently hear of developers like CD Projekt or id Software crunching to meet deadlines and expectations. Tibitorski does reckon that the team's smaller size, Young Horses only has 8 full-time employees, made the transition easier, but that isn't impossible for larger studios to follow suit. Quote, it was easier for us to implement because to measure our small team's output is simply relative to those bigger studios. So our trial period and decision making is faster than a studio who has to get buy-in from so many departments and investors. End quote.
Hell to the yes to
Hell
this.
to the yes. Can I just can I go first? Because I actually have relevant experience of this. So like we've both talked about previous jobs that we've held where we've both worked stupid amount of hours in different industries. And right now, as it currently stands, I do a 4-day work week. Like it was my choice to do a 4-day work week, and the difference between doing a 4-day and a 5-day work week is night and day. Like on everything, on like general happiness and contentment, mental health, on like my quality of life. Like having that one extra day like makes such a big difference. Like you might not think it would, like it's just one extra day, like, but like having that it made significant difference to my life. So like I applaud anyone that follows this 4-day work week. Seems to be picking up momentum like in the world in general. A lot of places, a lot of countries, a lot of companies are seeming to be trying this 4-day work week out, and it is like I can sit here and attest to it's a phenomenal idea that makes a huge difference for people.
I haven't worked in this type of thing before, so I can't really comment on much. I'm only going off what like I've seen from the data and obviously what you've spoken about. But mental health is an incredibly important thing, and to hear that people are now better because going to a 4-day work week helps them out so much is an incredible thing to do. And like we want things to get better for people so they can not only do the job and be productive, but also know that they're going to be coming home and seeing their families and having a good time and chilling and everything and not having to worry about work. And that's what the balanced life needs to happen. I'm sick of hearing I'm just going to say the old timers of who, sadly, at the end of the day, that's how you grew up, or that you were doing a 5-day work week, doing a crunch hours like crazy, doing all these stupid, ridiculous, terrible hours. Well, look at you now. You're 9 times out of 10, you're all over the place. You may not be able to walk properly as well, and you have probably no energy to even see your grandchildren or anything like that. And that's not something I would want anyone to want. A 4-day work week is incredibly important. A good health lifestyle, knowing that your employees are happy, it should be the main element for any business.
Yeah, absolutely. It really should be. Like happy employees are healthy employees, or productive employees. And that is as close to capitalism as I will ever preach.
I've told you on many occasions, like I am more pro-capitalism towards you, but I do think things can get better. Like moving to a 4-day work week will help things overall.
We can do a political theory podcast one day. I never want to get dragged into it in a podcast like where we discuss socialism and capitalism.
I'm just throwing up my thing.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
It could be a right old pain in the ass.
I just want people to know why I'm not responding like in depth, and it's just because I'm trying to keep us on topic.
She's just shooting me down, ladies and gentlemen. It's all right.
No, like socialism is better. You just have to deal with it. Like, got him. No, this is phenomenal, and like the argument that like, well, I had to work hard in my day, like, and I worked 1 million hours a week and never saw my kids and did this and did that, blah blah blah. Like, you're not making, okay, Boomer, you're not making the argument you think you are, because why don't we just fix that? We could just fix that and make things better. I don't understand this mentality that the older generation, and yes, I'm going to say it, it's the older generation. The older generation has for making the generations behind them suffer because they had to suffer. And I will point out that boomers did not have to suffer that much relative to the generations around them. The generation before them had to fight in one of the worst wars that the world has ever seen, and the generations after them are having to deal with the stupendous mess that they're leaving of the entire planet. So like the argument that like they had to suffer, so we have to suffer. Like no, we could just fix things. Let's just fix things instead.
It's idiotic. It really is.
Like let's just fix things. Like I was talking to my friend a few days ago, saying like through my work and the people I work with, and like the people I work with who I've chosen to be friends with as opposed to just work with, like I get to hang out with a lot of people from Gen Z. Gen Z's amazing. Like I'm just gonna say it, the young people like that I get to interact with and hang out with are fucking amazing people. Like let's follow their lead because they know what they're fucking doing. Yeah. And on the other point, this is a good story to follow up with on the Naughty Dog stuff we were talking about a little while ago, which is that this is the polar opposite. And to me, I just want to take this story and I just want to slam it into Neil Druckmann's face and just say, how can you not do this? Because this is how it should work. Like, the quotes from here are literally the polar opposite of the quotes we saw from Druckmann.
Yeah. Like I've stated many times, I know we're on short for time here, but I just want to say this quote. The God of War documentary that's out there, that Rising Kratos or whatever it's called, it's a incredible documentary. It is fantastic, especially if you want to know about game development, all like that. But I cringed when I literally heard some of the staff say, "Oh, I don't mind crunching." I'm like, what? You shouldn't have to be minding it. As much as God of War is arguably one of the masterpieces that have come out lately of the last 10 years. No, I don't care. Right. I don't want to hear you crunching, sir. Oh, madam, or anything. I don't want that.
God of War is probably my favorite game of the last generation. And I've watched Raising Kratos like 4 times. The fact that you've said that means I'm probably going to watch it again, like within the next few days. Like, if not tonight, after this podcast. And I love that game, but like, you can take your time, and we don't mind. We don't mind. If I was only playing God of War last year, like because you took an extra couple of years, so like you were working healthily and safely and minding the happiness and mental health of your employees, that's absolutely fine. There's a moment in that documentary where with the woman, I forget her name, it's been a while since I've seen it, with the woman where she's talking about never seeing her family and she's crying, and it's just like that. And that's just the little glimpse that you can see of this that Sony allowed into their documentary. That's the tip of the iceberg.
Basically, I'm pretty sure that basically hinted that because of what's happening with this game, right? Even though she's incredibly proud, I'm pretty sure she basically had a divorce because of this.
Yeah, like, okay.
That sounds like it was hinting at that for me, I think.
And yeah, that's
I might be wrong
conjecture
there,
on our part, but like we shouldn't even be watching a documentary about a video game being made and seeing things like that. Like, let's see people happy that they made something so amazingly incredible as God of War.
Yeah. And be happy as thinking we took our time. We didn't Yeah.
and not have to look back on it and go, fucking hell, the work I put into that. Like, yeah, work hard on it within 4 days, 5 days, reasonable shift lengths. Like, don't look back on it and go, fucking hell, I was working 80 hours a week. Rub some of the sheen off. You know? Like...
Yep. Yes, indeed.
Anyway, I was banging the desk a lot there. I apologize for our audio listeners. I was picking up and playing with and dropping the scrunchie that was nearby because I was getting stressed.
I didn't hear anything, so if I didn't hear
Alright.
anything, I'd be very surprised if you.
Let's do games out this week.
Yes, indeed. Deathloop PC and the PlayStations. Deathloop is a next-gen first-person shooter from Arcane Leon, the award-winning studio behind Dishonored. In Deathloop, 2 rival assassins are trapped in a mysterious time loop on an island of Black Reef, doomed to repeat the same day for eternity. Eastward PC and Switch, welcome to the charming world of Eastward, a population declining journey through the society on the brink of collapse. Discover delightful towns, strange creatures, and even stranger people. Wield a trusty frying pan, seriously, and mystical powers on an adventure into the unknown. Game Deck PC. Game Deck is a single cyberpunk RPG. You are a game detective who solves crimes inside virtual worlds. Use your wits to gather info from your witness and suspects. Get into the bottom of the detective scheme of the schemes. The game continually adapts to your decisions and never judges. I don't like the sound of that. Skatebird PC, the Xbox Game Pass, and Switch. Grind on bendy straws, kick flips from staples and carve killer lines through cardboard and sticky tape parks. Above all else, Skatebirds try their best. The Amazing American Circus, PC, Xbox, and the Switch. Roll up and play a deck-building game like no other. Gather weird and wonderful performers, amaze audiences, explore Guild Age America, and transform your run-down circus into an entertainment empire. Play your cards right, and you could claim the crown of the greatest showman. From P.T. Barnum. So capitalism. Sorry, I had to. Agam 2?
Origami 2.
Origami 2, thank you very much. PC, PlayStation, the Xbox, and the greatest thing out there, Game Pass. Origami 2 is a third-person stealth game where you play as an assassin with the power to control the shadows. Join the Shadow Clan and fight the invader armies to protect your people. Severed Steel, PC, a stylish single-player FPS featuring a fluid...
Wait, did you freeze? Oh no. It's froze. Well, this isn't good.
The merciless frog clan.
Stop you there. You froze for like ages. Yeah. You got the 7th steel, and then you were like,
I did not notice that.
no, it's fine. Like, you're back now. Just go back to 7th steel.
Did I say all of 7th steel? Or
Just
froze?
start from 7th steel.
Okay, 7th Steel, a stylish single-player FPS featuring a fluid stunt system, destructible environments, loads of bullet time, a unique one-armed protagonist, and a dark electronic soundtrack. Tales of Iron, PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. It is an RPG adventure with punishingly brutal combat. As Reggie, heir to the throne, you must embark on a perilous quest to reclaim your kingdom, explore a charming world, assemble a band of brave companions, banish the merciless Frog King. Clang. Tom, PC, PlayStation, and Switch. Set out on a delightful exploration and use your photographic eyes to uncover the mysteries of the magical tomb. In this hand-drawn adventure game, chat with the quirky characters, solve their problems, and by snapping neat photos and make your way through a relaxing landscape.
I like relaxing.
We do indeed, Amy.
Someone pointed out to me that like I clearly wanted to go and live on a farm or in the woods or basically away from humanity and technology, because we were talking about what video games we'd like to live in, and all mine were like Stardew Valley and Pokemon Snap, like just walking around taking pictures of Pokemon, like. And it's just like, yeah, you should just move to a hut in the woods and become a hermit. And I was like, maybe I'll do that. Texted Phil, do you want to buy a farm? It's time for OpenCritic head-to-head. This is the game we play every single week where we try to guess the OpenCritic average of one upcoming game. Whoever guesses closest to the OpenCritic average at the time of recording gets 1 point. If you manage to guess the score correctly, you get 2 points. Last week, we tried to guess the OpenCritic average. We never actually told anyone we were changing the podcast schedule. I just want to point that out. We didn't even do it in the intro because we had our very special and amazing guests. Oops. Last week, more or less, we tried to guess the OpenCritic average of Life is Strange 2 True Colors. I guessed it would get a 74. Moody guessed it would get a 79. Foxes guessed it would get a 71 at the time of recording, because Moody hasn't corrected me otherwise. Life is Strange 2 Colors has an open... Why can't I say True Colors? True Colors has an OpenCritic average of 81, which puts the scores at Amy 17, Moody 14, Foxes 6, Keith 10 with 2 draws. This week, there was only one choice for us to guess, and it's Deathloop. Pretty sure the reviews are going to drop on Monday, so probably before this podcast drops, but we ain't seen them. So,
that's true.
What do you reckon?
88.
88. Where did you possibly get that number from? Most games are going to get 88. Hey, it works for being Psychonauts, that's all I'm saying. I'm gonna guess something's got to do this at some point in 2021. It has to go above 9. It has to go above 90. Something has to get to 90 or above. One game. And
it's a PlayStation exclusive, so it has the chance. There's no doubt about it. But
yeah.
We will see.
It looks cool. I've been super excited for it. It's right up there, like, in terms of, like, games I'm most excited to play. Like, it was, like, Lake was up there. Deathloop was up there. So, like, I'm excited. And I'm going to let that excitement carry me to guessing that it's going to get a 90.
Do we want to finish off with... or do we want to not announce the about Foxes?
I was going to make a very, very dark joke there. Yeah, go for it.
Foxes has sadly decided that he can no longer be podcasting. Just time constraints on his side and everything, and he just is basically... We were thinking of moving it to recording on a Sundays anyway, and to release on a Monday, and he just couldn't work for him and everything, and we love him to bits, and hopefully one day he can come back just on maybe just as a one-off basis sometime. Like maybe when E3 comes around, we'll get him back on and everything.
I want to get him for Game Critic next year at least.
Oh, definitely. I think that would be brilliant. Yeah, no doubt about it. But
hopefully this means that we can all play games more frequently together, and he can get more hilarious Phasmophobia streams.
Oh god, yeah, the Phasmophobia streams have been pretty exciting and funny as hell. But yes, we love you to bit, Foxes.
We really do. Like, we
can't wait to see you again.
Like, yeah, you're one of our favorites. Moody.
But nowadays, there's an open space out there.
Don't do that.
I'm joking.
No,
I
we
wouldn't
don't.
do that to
No,
you.
no.
No.
Look
I
at
don't
it this
choose
way.
that, ladies and gentlemen.
Look at it this way, Foxes. We had to get Joseph and Kyle to replace you. That's how much we miss you on the podcast.
Yeah.
Moody, I think it's time for the end of the podcast. Do you have an inspirational quote for me? Because I'm liking this. I'm liking closing the podcast out with these.
With the new release date for our podcast, as it is Monday. It's a brand new week, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone. So every day is a new beginning. Take a deep breath, smile, and start again. Remember, you are awesome.
I'm trying to decide what I'm just not. It's a great quote. What I was trying to figure out was: is he pausing or is he done?
No, I'm done.
You're
I'm
done.
done.
All right, cool. Let's go. And see you later, everybody out there. Go follow PlayStation Podcast. No, I did it again. Go follow the Trophy Room of PlayStation Podcast. They're amazing. You've just seen them if you've watched this podcast for the first hour or so of the show. So you know how cool they are. That's gonna do it. Say bye, Mooney.
Moody.